ask, what purpose does suffering serve? Here it serves a terrible and awful purpose. When someone perishes here, their soul and essence are collected and trapped in a place known as the Soul Tombs. These tombs are a source of Shang Tsung's power. The Black Dragon mercenaries came to rescue their leader, Kano, but were swept up in Shang Tsung's manipulations, just like we were. Master Raiden? Shang Tsung did not have the power to defeat you in Earthrealm, but here he hopes to reverse your victory in Mortal Kombat and take Earthrealm after your defeat.
So Shang Tsung gets stronger every time we enter combat, and even more powerful every time we win? How do we fight that? Do we stop fighting? Stop killing?
No, your journey must move forward, but there is a repository of souls that adds to Shang Tsung's strength. Go and destroy this soul tomb, and Shang Tsung will begin to lose his power.
Hey everyone, welcome back with Ermac, where today we're going to continue our playthrough of Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, and of course we're playing as Baraka, usually a versus mode character. Oh man, I always get hit by at least one, it's a pain. But usually a versus mode character. We made him using GameShark codes and you know, Panac codes or whatever the hell you call them. Because I use you know, PCSX2. Jeez, fumbling. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. I'm fumbling this freaking intro one after the other. But anyway, yeah. So using codes that are also available in the description. So if you want to know how to do any of that, it's down below in the description. The video I got it from is down below in the description, where you can ask questions from the guy who actually knows what he's doing on how to do it if you have any questions, as well as, you know, some other things. And it's in GameShark. You know, the codes are in the GameShark format, as well as you know, the PCSX2 format if you need that, you know, with the Panac codes and stuff. You know, so if you need that stuff, it's all in the description. Don't ask me, please. Anyway, so we're starting our playthrough here with Baraka. You know, like I said, he's a versus mode character, but we made him playable in the main story mode. We have a special code where we can switch to other characters, like, you know, Kung Lao or whatever, as player 2, so that way we got through all the Brutality and Multality areas. And you know, now that we're done with that, now we can just enjoy and play as you know, Baraka without any interruptions in our gameplay here and stuff like that. And so it should just be a good time from here on out. And it's interesting. I love all the secrets in this game and stuff too. You know, like they got the Liu Kang fatality I just revealed right there. It's actually a smoke mission. I think you can do it right now, and I think if I were to go to smoke in the living forest and he asked me to do this, I can just enter this room and it's already completed. So I mean, that's pretty cool. Oh boy, these guys are really aggressive. I'm probably gonna have to switch out the freaking Baraka, you know, with his Tarkatan partner, because for some reason I feel like characters who are not supposed to be in cutscenes, whenever you put them in cutscenes, it just doesn't work for some reason. I don't really know why. It must just be set up with the models for some reason, but I thought it was working at first. But as you can see, like at the start of this playthrough, yeah, he's like all shiny and stuff, and that sucks, because I kind of wanted just to have that Tarkatan idiot following me around the whole game. But yeah, the longest level here, we're gonna try and get through as fast as we can, you know, because I've already played through this so many times. You know, the Soul Tombs, and I don't know. I feel it's definitely the longest level by far, by a wide margin. It's kind of like two mini levels put into one, I feel like. But it is a really cool level. It's like the midway point of the game and stuff like that, and you know, some revelations happen here and some major plot points of the game. I actually found out here that there's a major issue I have with Baraka, and as you can see, he cannot uppercut people into that fan properly, and I think it only comes into play in this level, in this area specifically. But it actually took me quite a few tries, as you can see, to get him in there. And I don't know, it's like just enough to where I can't freaking hit him, and I gotta like time it. So there's that. think you have to do it like 4 or 5 times, and you know his throw doesn't work, and you know most people have like a special uppercut, and that's how you get people to hit that stuff in this game. Whereas Baraka, he just has like the complete opposite. He's like the one character I think in the game that has like just a downward swing for some reason, and it does launch the opponent into the air, you know, but not the same height as an uppercut. So yeah, that's probably, I don't know. I keep saying in all these videos, it just sucks so much that you have like these versus mode characters and they have their own fatalities, and the fatalities work pretty much almost practically perfectly fine in you know the freaking story mode. Otherwise, it's just they don't have the Multalities and Brutalities. I have to wonder, is that the reason why they're not playable in the you know the story mode, or was it just they were never intended to? Were there more characters that were going to be playing for versus mode? Now we got to retry this again. Yeah, it's just a mess. It's pretty much not really worth it with Baraka in a way. But I mean, it's not too hard. But it definitely takes getting used to with Baraka to properly get him into the spots. And I could be wrong, but I feel like you do need to get everybody in you know, like the blades at one time, but we're about to test that theory. And like, of course, even just doing that, there we go. That's the perfect. It shouldn't work because we're breaking the game in a way that it shouldn't be, you know, by just slamming them flat down like this and they go outside of the walls, which I guess it kind of makes sense. It's definitely not supposed to be intended, but there should be more of an invisible wall. Like, I shouldn't be able to toss people like that. I don't know what the hell that dude just fell. He just like slipped. But I mean, that's kind of part of the charm of Shaolin monks for me at this point. It's just seeing all the weird, goofy nonsense and the glitches. But yeah, it looks like I said, it's not just as simple as a certain amount of people have to hit the blade. It's everybody has to hit the blade on that section. So I'm kind of wondering if, because I always do it and I always have that guy hit the blade at the beginning, you know, underneath part. I wonder, like, does he actually contribute to it in any way, or I don't know. I've never tested that theory. I might have to try and remember next time. Oh my goodness, I hate this room. I was so fed up at this point with it. But yeah, I mean that's the strategy if you want to use Baraka in this room. It's just get him in that special throw, and then just smack him down like a pancake. We found a new cool move that I really like at this point too. That blade lift, because everybody, I think even the versus characters have like secret combos, and you can't really tell what they are for the most part because you know, they're not listed in the moveset. So I nearly shit my pants when I went through that too. I was about to be super pissed if I had to restart the room. But but thankfully I glitched, but it was still okay. I was able to leave the room. But yeah, like and there used to be this site, I just can't find it anymore. There used to be a site that showed all like the combos and stuff of like of not just the regular characters you play as in the story mode, but the characters that you play as in versus mode, and it showed all their special combos and stuff like that. Because I used it for my Johnny Cage playthrough, and when it came time to my Baraka playthrough, I just could not find it again, and it really irritated me because, you know, I really wanted to learn more special moves. I think I even used it for Reptiles playthrough too. But there we go. Alright, we're getting more health here. You know, that was a pretty dangerous game we were playing here. Alright, let's just cut these guys in half. They're probably asking for it at this point. I would be. I mean, geez, that doesn't look very pleasant, but I think it's about that time in the video where we get to the question of the day, which I'm not even doing it in all my videos. I'm getting kind of lazy with it at this point, unfortunately, but we're still doing it with the MK series here. God, those fingernails are disgusting. Anyway, the question of the day for this video: which Mortal Kombat game has the best overall stages? And I was talking a lot about stages back in the day, you know, the 3D era. You know, I was gushing over them last freaking week. to the point where, you know, I didn't even really finish my I didn't even do an outro last week. I just kind of ended abruptly, but I did that. You know, I was talking about MK2, and I bragged, not really bragged because it's not my stuff, but I've talked so much about how I love the stages in MK2, and they work so well for like a game, you know, adventure game like this, and Shaolin monks and stuff. And how I'm not really the biggest fan of most stages in games nowadays for the MK series, but I don't know. I think I've already said it. MK2 definitely has the best overall stages, without a doubt. Deception and Armageddon had some really great stages, from, you know, the ones where they're remade in 3D, and, you know, the really large new stages. The Nethership interior is awesome, you know, with the hanging bodies. Of course, you know, you have the frickin', you know, the Dragon King's Palace was really cool, and Deadly Alliance, of course, but, yeah, it's just speaking strictly for, Deception, you know, you had the lower mines, giant stage, 3 death traps, I believe, awesome. You had the Falling Cliffs is an awesome stage that would be awesome to have come back. The Red Dragon Chamber, where it's like you're fighting on the glass, it, you know, is a really awesome stage. I feel like the Slaughterhouse is awesome. The Beetle Lair, it's an alright stage. You know, it's cool you have that weapon that you can find in it too. Another one that was really awesome too, without a doubt, was Yin Yang Island. I talked about that a little bit last episode too. So it'd be cool if, like, they kind of... See, you know, I say I'd want them to give the 3D era storylines another try, but I feel like I'm one of those people, I'll be honest. I'm like a guy where I like my old stuff how it was, and, like, obviously things have just changed so much these days, you know, with the storytelling and, you know, character designs and what they like and what they think is cool and all this stuff, that my taste would not really would not really gel with their taste, I'm sure, if they redid the 3D era and stuff like that. And, you know, that's fine. Everybody has their different opinions. I'm that old boomer guy yelling at the clouds and stuff like that, and that's fine. But, you know, I would like to see some of those old stages come back and be used in some way, you know, because I know a lot of people like to shit on the 3D era. You know, I think it's changing the narrative of it, of that, like, you know, for the longest time it was the whole thing. The 3D era was bad. Nothing at all ever was good about it. The characters all sucked. The story mode sucked. The stories sucked. The fatalities sucked. The stages sucked. All this other stuff. And I hear a lot of good, you know, people, you know, they like the characters, you know, and want to see them given more chances and stuff like that from that era, you know, the people that grew up during it. But I feel like I've never really heard people say, yeah, we want these stages to come back. And it sucks, because I feel like they had some really awesome stages back in the day. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah! We got it. Right at the last millisecond too, buddy. Boy, that was close. That was close. But yeah, Armageddon had some awesome stages too. I really like Reiko's War Room. Yeah, I just like the aesthetic of it. There's nothing really too special about it. I liked how it was kind of smaller too, I'm not gonna lie. You got away, but not for long. I think another thing was that was really cool was the Meteor Storm. Trying to think of other stages. You know, Reptile's Lair was really cool. Goro's Lair was also just kind of cool in that game. I can't remember the name of the stage, but the Outworld stage where you, you know, can knock people down the stairs a few times. That was cool. The Wasteland was awesome. Just the gigantic scope of all those stages was just awesome. And, you know, the death traps really added to them and added to the character of the stages. And I feel like for the most part, none of them were really phoned in either. Bell Tower was awesome. So yeah, I mean, even just the Conquest stages, where it's just like basic places to fight, I felt like they were, you know, cool enough. And, you know, if Mortal Kombat Armageddon, it was just those stages, yeah, I think that the stage selection would be pretty lame. But if you have a good mix of stages that have a lot of personality and you know, I guess color to it, and you know, they mix well, you know, with the stages that have all the personality and the stage fatalities or death traps or whatever in that game. And you know, it's kind of like just like a nice reprieve from those, if you will, you know. And I feel like since they're pretty much, you know, story mode exclusive, I feel like that it kind of works out because, you know, for some reason I think it was kind of lame you didn't get to really play as those in arcade mode. But you know, if you wanted to, you had the choice to fight them in versus mode and stuff like that, as well as, you know, conquest mode. Yeah, I didn't really like how they just never made a Shao Kahn's dungeon stage, and you had to fight Melina in the armory. Which, other great stage, it's just I feel like it didn't work well in conquest mode. At least me personally. But, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, like I said. Alright, let's break this big piece of metal. Like I said before, I just love all the mini games in this game and how just everything is so seamless. It's like you could make this game and put all these concepts in and stuff like that. It's just amazing how well all the concepts work for this game in the early games, you know? Masterpiece. But yeah, overall, I mean, as much as I'm gushing about the 3D era stages, I mean, you know, MK2 definitely has the best one. MK1 didn't have bad stages, but they were kind of just generic Kung Fu Island themed stages. But I like that they kind of told the story at the same time. MK3, once again, it kind of had a similar theme where it's like, it tells a story, you know, you're fighting on Earth and all this other stuff, and a lot of the corrupted places, and you know, you got the subway, you got the street. You know, subway's iconic because it just works for MK with the train fatality. But you know, you got the freaking the subway, you got the bank, the rooftop, the streets. I think you just have the bridge, and it works. You know, I mean, I just feel like at the end of the day, it also doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat in a lot of ways, and they are pretty generic. I feel like that is something. One thing, I feel like people don't usually talk about stages and stuff like that too often, but I think when you look at it, it kind of does help speak to the overall quality of, you know, a game, in my opinion, where you're fighting. And I feel like that was kind of like the stages of MK3. They're not the worst, but they do kind of speak. The generic stages kind of, you know, I feel like they did not help with you know, the reception of 3 at the time. You know, I think Ultimate MK3 obviously had all the extra characters added, and I think the stages also helped with that too, in my opinion. But yeah, let's kill his food so that way he can't eat them and heal himself before we start this big fight. MK4 I feel like had some underrated stages as well. Like I mentioned in the last episode, you know, I think Windworld is a pretty basic stage, but I think it's cool. I think another good one was like the Elder, I can't remember, like the Elder Gods Chamber, or Chamber of the Elder Gods or something like that. It's like all the blue Elder Gods faces just making weird faces for some reason as you're fighting around them. I'm trying to think of some other ones. The Takunan War Prison was pretty cool. I think it just turned into the Takunan Warship in Armageddon. I guess they're considered different stages, despite the fact they're clearly meant to be the same place. They just have different names. I feel like the Takunan Warship is just a more upgraded version of that, in my opinion. Boy, that definitely, I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering. I mean, I like the Living Forest stage in that game as well. It was okay. Goro's Lair, I think, really worked well in that game, personally. I just didn't really like the stage fatality. But there were definitely a few good stages in MK4. I kind of like that temple, too, the Shaolin Temple. And I just kind of really like that it had that connection with, you know, MK mythology, even though that game is kind of poop. But, you know, I would like another try, you know, another crack at, you know, these MK side series games. But, you know, I think just with the way the industry, the gaming industry is, we're just, I feel like the MK games have kind of lost a little bit of their fun factor, in my opinion. Just goofy, silly guys, you know, messing around, having a good time, making a game. And honestly, we've seen that with MK1 with them having to rush it and all this other stuff, unfortunately. But I don't know. That game could have been, you know, a little bit something more, you know, in my opinion. But it's, you know, is what it is. Once again, I also just feel like the storylines, people just haven't really been gelling with the storylines in the last few games, in my opinion. And I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I just don't think that there is a lot of it that doesn't always feel like Mortal Kombat, but I also just feel like they just don't really know how to tell a story as well as they used to, if I'm being honest, back in the day, you know? Oh boy. Think that guy's okay?
Are you okay?
He's feeding the soul tombs. Alright, so we gotta take ourselves out here. We got the mirror match going on, of course. I'm not even gonna lie, I actually am kind of having a little bit of trouble keeping track of who's who already. But does he have the different color actually? I mean, I'm kicking his butt now, his Baraka butt. But I don't know, I think it is a different color. I think that is blue, it's just tough to tell with the shit. Oh, never mind, no it isn't. Or maybe it isn't, like it changes for the cutscene, but if that is the case, I mean, that'd be pretty awesome. Alright, I can tell by, I'm gonna be able to tell by his shoes. You know, like the leg wraps, I should say. Ooh, we got him. Poor guys, you gotta put them out of their misery. I just love how like these guys being tortured is just like a game to these guys in this game. They're just an obstacle. Ooh. Yeah, see, I feel like I should be able to do that move. I just don't know how to do it. Like, there's got to be a combo for it. I just don't know how to do it. To be honest, that kind of frustrates me. But yeah, I can tell by the leg wraps it's the same costume. Which is too bad. That would be really awesome if I mean, I would have been able to tell in like the reptile fight and stuff like that. But yeah, it just kind of gave me a little bit of false hope. It would have been cool if you know, the computer Baraka was the player 2 colors, and that's how it would work for all the characters. But like obviously the boss characters and boss models are much different than the playable characters. And I don't know, it's cool the Baraka could do that, but all I ever think of whenever I see him like catch himself with the blade right there is like, man, that's gotta like sting so bad, like tearing his like forearms and stuff like that. But I don't know, I'm probably a weirdo. That's probably something that nobody ever thought of other than me. And I think this one, I always thought it was like, okay, you gotta do a certain amount of damage, but I actually think you have to hit him a certain amount of times. And unfortunately, Baraka does not really have a good projectile for that. Jeez, how am I not hitting? What? Yeah, I was about to say, I thought I didn't hit him for a second there. See, like I'm missing him somehow. Come on, man. Aim a little bit. Aim. Jeez. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time. Feels like whenever I am making good time in this level, there's something, whether it's the Baraka fight or, you know, something I always get, you know, stuck up on. There we go. Alright, we're still getting them. But like as you can see, like I'm doing chip damage. So I feel like it's got to be a certain amount of hits before the next phase happens. And I do not really like that. Like, why am I shooting over? It's ridiculous here. Oh my goodness. Alright, we got him before he could even start that one. Nice try, Buster. Alright, there we go. Man, that is probably the lamest boss phase in any of the boss fights. It's cool in theory, but then like it just drags on for too long, in my opinion. But I know what we must do now. I don't really understand. I feel like they don't really explain I feel there's a few things with the soul tombs they don't really explain in this game. Like, first off, I'm assuming that when we burst the soul tombs that Shang Tsung was protecting or whatever, he had us destroy it, which I don't really know why he couldn't do it. But like, he had us destroy it, and I'm assuming that released all the souls, right, that he could then suck up. But I feel like it would have made more sense if instead of him just becoming young randomly, all of a sudden, he was just able, you know, it was destroying the soul tombs that made it to where he became young again, because he harvests their powers. Like, I feel like they don't really explain that too much. I'm assuming maybe he was stealing from the soul tombs, and then we just kind of happened upon him, and that's what happened. I don't really know. It's just weird to me. I don't really understand what the context was with that. And on top of that, what is with these swords? Like, why do the souls gravitate to the sword? What is the purpose of these swords? Why are they being protected by Baraka? You know, what is going on here? You know, for what purpose, other than, you know, killing Baraka in this specific manner, are these swords relevant? You know, what are they in a war reason? Why do the souls gravitate to them? You know what I mean? Whose swords are these? I feel like they could have added a lot of really cool lore in this level. You know, like the freaking Guardian of the Tombs, right? That you can interact with, like one of the statues. You know, like who the hell are they? Like, why are they resting now? What the hell happened? Why did Shao? I'm assuming Shao Kahn took over the tombs, but why? You know, what was their purpose? You know, I don't know. I just feel like they didn't really explain the soul tombs as well as they could have in this game. Reagan, are you doing alright? Pretty freaky, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's not the first time that's happened. I always wish I could figure out the character models they use for this too, because I would honestly just do an entire playthrough using these two guys in place of Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Like, I think it's just a really cool Easter egg that, like, it's just their, for the most part, like, I think it's just their MK2 outfits, especially with the Liu Kang, you know, because obviously he had like the shorter hair in the first two games. But I don't know, I definitely think my favorite Kung Lao appearance was in MK2. I was like, yeah, how he had like that you know, he had the symbol on the front of his shirt instead of the back, and, you know, it's just kind of like just a generic shirt type thing. They kind of hung over him. Kind of like the Chavo Guerrero shirt in his later career. For you WWE fans out there.
No, we are part of an ancient mystery. That is all.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for this episode, if I'm going to be honest. Obviously, we have to freaking go back to the Wuxi Academy, get the freaking ability that's over there, then we have to come back, get this ability over here. I don't know, like I've said I think a few times, it should have been behind this wall with the freaking statue to destroy, because nobody's going to naturally really come back for the most part. I think a few people are, but I feel like most people are going to forget about this statue here at this point, which is why they even have that portal in the first place. It should have just been like a secret, in my opinion. You know, like one of those red yin-yang things, like an unlockable concept art or whatever they wanted to put there, instead of, you know, an ability, and they could have just put the ability somewhere else. Maybe even in the soul tombs, I don't know, it would have been cool, I guess, but I don't know, it's just such a weird way they went about the ability here, because now I have to go all the way back and do the wall run again before I leave and stuff. And just goofy, in my opinion, just goofy. Or, I don't know, even then, better yet, why not just make it one ability in and of itself if you're gonna collect them back to back? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm asking this 20-plus-year-old game why it is the way it is. With that said, folks, so like I said, this is going to be the end of the video this time, so thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out next week's episode on Fighting Friday, but But above all else, please remember to have a nice day.